When you are happy, right, you can even carry the pine tree. But when you are not happy, the piece of paper is heavy. Because we were born from humble family, right? We were not born with silver or golden spoon. So I lost 50% of my network. And do not try to impress your enemy. A lot of people do business. They try to buy BMW, try to buy Mercedes. They try to look rich. The social media is the mirror. Of ourselves. So we need to be very, very careful. Is the challenge to change the employee mindset into an entrepreneur mindset.
We are here today is only because of our mentors, right?
Yes.
Because they guided us and they showed the path, or else.
This year we won 5 smart city projects. Right?
Nice.
Why you choose consulting as a career, as a business? I just want to work for 2-3 days a week. So anybody who wants to work 2-3 days a week, they should actually have coffee with me rather than they go back to their rat race or 9 to 5. Come on, man, come back to the industry, man. Why are you relaxing at home?
Welcome to the Tech Leadership Club podcast, the space where technology meets leadership, strategy, and real world impact. Today's conversation is something about bigger than tools and trends. It's about how technology, when designed thoughtfully, can reshape cities, business, and the way people experience the world. My guest today here is Ambran Abu Bakar, who has spent more than 2 decades working at the intersection of engineering, business, and urban transformation. Ambran Abu Bakar is a group chairman and the founder of SCAVAI Alliances and the trusted advisor of CEOs and governments across Asia and Middle East. He works across smart cities, artificial intelligence, digital transformation, audiovisual system, and ecosystem design. But what truly stands out is this belief that technology must serve humanity, not the other way around. Right. In this episode, we'll talk about what it really takes to build a human-centric smart cities, why so many digital transformation efforts fail, and how leaders should think about technology investments at scale beyond the buzzwords. Amran, welcome to the podcast. Quick, brief intro to our audience about you.
Hi, Arun. Thank you so much for this opportunity. And I think I'm just to share with you, actually, my forefathers are from India, both.
Nice.
So, of course, they moved to Singapore very much in the, I think, my father was born in Singapore, 1921, my late father, and my late mom was born in 1930 plus. So, my grandfather's from Chulia and Tamil Nadu. So,
Nice.
yeah, my journey very much started with military, right? So my military journey was short. I was very excited about the military career. I wanted to be the commando officer, right? So, but the scholarship that I was dying for didn't come to my expectations. So I actually jumped ship and just joined the stat board for 5 months. Then I joined the public sector until today. So having that military background with the discipline and very objective, how to say, in a go-getter mode, and we are driven by mission and objectives and all that. So I just feel that it helps me a lot. So when I joined the audiovisual world, I'm a musician. I love sound. I love music. So that's where I got involved with audiovisual career. So when I started that, I got very good mentors. Whoever I am now, the credits all go to my mentors. They have been guiding me. I mean, most of them are Chinese. And what I like about them is this: when we perform and we put in our effort and all that, they really, really recognize us and give us the path for us to create our career, right? And slowly into business. So from a small company where they were selling 3-gun projectors, video walls, and all that, I moved to Singtel, a big corporate, and that time also it was actually a big system integrator. And I mean, I just got more and more ambitious. So both these company are system integrators. So in other words, I'm in the technology domain, but more in the contracting firm. So I set higher goals. And that's where I joined CCW, Chiaka and Wilkinson. It's very much a regional consulting firm to do my first project in Singapore, the National Library Board. So that actually gave me a very, how to say, until today when I walk with my children and show them this building, I say this is the first building I did, as a consultant. So that has a lot of pride and all that. But also through that journey, I realized that I cannot trust my salary. because in business, when we employees, we don't care about profit and loss and all that.
Last. Yeah.
But when my boss ran into cash flow and all that, so that's where it start me thinking that should I remain as an employee? But whereas I was doing a side hustle, right, in beauty and fitness, I got some little bit of business experience. So I start talking to my mentors and I said that I need to put on the parachute just in case people don't pay me well and all
Happens.
that. I can make that decision. So I joined Arup, the UK consulting firm. That gave me another what do you call that, platform where I realized that wow, 14, 15,000 of consultants, that is amazing, right? And you imagine that at that time we do not have search engine, we do not have a lot of things and all that, but they already have a library. So that deep inside me saying that one day I must start up something that actually will allow people to very much become their own independent consultant. But I don't want them to be employees because of my bad experience. So I want them to be a consulting entrepreneur. So that's where I opened up A2Y Consulting with two of my partners, and we were lucky because we break Malaysia R1 million during the first year, and I also
Nice.
offended one of the big manufacturer in US, so they start buying me and start putting me in Dubai, relocating me and all that. So it all happens, Arun, in a very nice manner, right? So that's where when I was in Dubai, I have the exposure to do smart city.
Yeah.
So from an audiovisual consultant, from an acoustic consultant, from a project manager, now I'm going into smart building and smart cities. So that gave me more excitement and all that. So I was there for two years plus. Then I moved to China. I stayed in China nearly 2 years. Then I took a sabbatical break. Right, I was losing my grip, not in terms of career, not in terms of wealth, but more on family side.
Family.
So my son about to call me uncle, and my ex-wife was about to call me brother. That kind of situation I was in. So I decided to take a break. And do some
Happens.
soul searching and all that. Yeah, that was my initial part. So 2014 came an opportunity. The A-Star project came on board. So people were cursing at me and said, "Hey, come on, man, come back to the industry, man. Why are you relaxing at home?" So I came back. Within a year, another UK company actually offered me to take the lead. I worked for them in a short period. Then I also realized they were having cash flow problems and all that. So I bought the franchise. And I bought the franchise. Within 30 months, we brought in about 22 projects because of my network and because of the brand. So that's where
Nice.
that's where I realized that wow, branding is so important. And my godfather is in Hong Kong, so he was whispering to me. He said, "Hey, come on, man, start back your brand. Bring back A2Y. Stop promoting other people's brand. Blah blah blah." Then and he was supporting someone's brand, and it was snatched from him just like that. And he
Yeah.
went and he got a stroke. So he said that, Amran, don't take that route, right? Don't build something that you got no control. One day you will be so stressed out and you may lose everything. And the worst thing is when you lose your health. So that gave me a thinker. And what I did was I said, okay, I was on the plane to Amsterdam, so my staff was next to me, and my staff is also a musician. So that's where I start writing smart city, audio visual,
Yeah.
artificial
Yeah.
intelligence. Then it becomes an acronym SCAVAI, right? So I
SCAVAI.
asked I asked my staff, "Hey, how does SCAVAI sounds like?" Then he said, "Hey, I love Steve Vai, the guitarist. So SCAVAI, Steve Vai, it really sounds good." Then I said, "Okay, let's take this name and announce it to my godfather in Amsterdam." So we launched it in Amsterdam, and we were happy. And these 8 years has been a marvelous journey, Arun. It was
Amazing.
full of tears, full of sweat. Luckily, no, the bleeding was all inside, so not so bad. It's not visual, but I learned a lot. I learned a lot there, where I realized that I started conventional, keeping some permanent stuff here and there and all that. But I realized that it's not easy, and I was fortunate because my angel investor is very good legally, very good financially, and when I was pampering my staff with a lot of, because as an army officer, we've been trained, right, to take care of our men, take care of our staff,
Yeah.
blah blah blah. So I thought I was doing okay. Then when the cash flow was again, then I felt that, oh, this was what my boss was really going through and all that. So I decided that, okay, let me revamp the whole thing, and we start our franchise model, because at that time I was buying a franchise, right, from the UK company. So why not, instead of being a franchisee now, why not I become the franchisor, since I got the know-how and I got the
Yeah.
network, right? It's just about building my new brand. So the reason why I didn't want to use my first brand, A2Y, because it's an acronym of my the other two partners. All right. So that's where
Mm.
it's Ambran Yusuf Yusri. So that's why it's A2Y. So that's why I changed to SCAVAI. Is first, I don't want the brand to attach to me. I want to create the platform where anybody can become consultant. Just like Tony Fernandez, right? Anybody can fly, right? With the Air Asia kind of
Yeah.
concept. So I feel that in the Western world, Arun, as you age, you become respected, you become adored, you become a legend, you become an icon. But in our part of the world, in Asia, sometimes when as you age, right, they can't wait to kick you out and send in a new guy, a young guy and a more
You fade
energetic
out. You fade out slowly.
platform. And I want to do it because that when the moment you're having that entrepreneur mindset, my mentor, Datuk Zulkifli Abdul Malik, so very much has 14 Japanese companies and he got 11 NGOs. So in other words, he have 25 jobs, right? So, and he able to manage it. So I feel that why not, if I create a platform, whether you are a student, whether you are working, whether you are an entrepreneur or a businessman, you are able to actually come on board. So the thing is, actually, I train the leadership, I train the entrepreneurship. So you manage the time and all that, and we collaborate and create this alliance. So that's how the business model works, and that's where we started with B2C. Then now we got B2B and we got B2G. So that's why they borrow SCAVAI licensing, and because with my 28 years of track record, it's easy for us to win projects.
Yeah.
I actually opened up in 2021. I opened up SCAVAI Capital, so we are able to bring in funds as well. So for with that kind of
Nice.
thing, I don't have to start begging for projects now. So what I do now, I create project, right, to support my team and all that. So we bring in the leasing company, we bring in the funders, we bring in the bankers and all that, and see how. And I think Alhamdulillah, means we got grace this year. Since tomorrow is the new year, this year we won 5 smart city projects, right?
Nice.
And two smart museum projects. So I think we have enough projects now, and that's the reason, if you notice my LinkedIn lately, I've been doing a lot of onboarding, a lot of academy, to build up the community of entrepreneurs, and not just entrepreneurs, the community of consulting entrepreneurs. So we have as young as the consulting, 13 years old to 19 years old. That is the consulting program. So we have the young consultant, 20 to 29. So the senior consultant will fall between 30 39. Then the principal consultant will fall into 40 to 49. So the moment you go above 50 like
Wow.
me now, we will play the principal advisory role, right? To groom the young
Mm.
leaders. So that way we have the full ecosystem.
Yeah, yeah, amazing journey there, Amran. One of the things that I enjoy talking to people like you is how relatable that experiences are. For example, when I joined many companies, I was more ambitious. I was like, what next? How can I go there? You see, you keep asking those questions, you eventually make it there, then you find another one. Oh, that looks amazing, right? How can I
Correct.
go there? Right?
Yeah.
And one point that I also spoke about in my past podcasting and colleagues that I interacted with. We are here today is only because of our mentors, right?
Yes.
Because they guided
Correct.
us and they showed the path, or else we don't know. It would have been a completely different journey
Exactly.
altogether, right? So these are some of the things that I relate to people's journeys, and whatever you've done, I think it's pretty amazing. Looking at the things that you just said, right? Like bring in bankers, bringing designers, bring in funds to invest and get into smart city program that can be developed. But being a founder, I understand it's not an easy feat to
No.
have that network, convincing people. Most of the times, it's very hard for any salesman to make a customer spend because
Correct.
that's their money.
Exactly.
And unless you show them some remarkable value, that's when they open up their vouchers or wallets and pay you, right? And that is one of the things, since you have a all-round ecosystem, as you call it, right? Which is amazing because it could be a one place whoever wants to build a smart city program or anything that they need to do with the digital transformation. Amazing. Like I was reading about all the company, but the way that you explained, right? It puts a lot more better picture in terms of me spending so much time learning about it. But yeah, really amazing.
Thank you, Arun. So for me now, it's no longer about me. I'm already 53, right? I have achieved what I want to achieve in most of the arena, but I feel that the whole dynamics have changed. The whole what do you call that? The business trends, the technology trends have evolved in a drastic way. So
Yeah.
what I've learned these 8 years, right? Well, like I said, is the challenge to change the employee mindset into an entrepreneur mindset. That is actually because people cannot understand, and we as entrepreneurs, we cannot be sharing our sad stories on social media, like what people, employee can be complaining about the boss on the social media and all that. But for us, we need to be very careful, like what Shahrukh Khan mentioned, right? The social media is the mirror
Yeah.
of ourselves, so we need to be very very careful, to actually, in fact, I make a boo boo of my personal life in 2011 when I mentioned, the storm that I was going through in
Yeah.
my family life. So I lost 50% of my network, right? As you know, because normally the women will win more attention and more empathy, blah blah blah, right? So I didn't realize that I was stupidly sharing things and all that. So that actually impacted my network. So then I realized that, oh no, I need to stop that. I need to put my emotions aside. I need to stay calm, go back to my military mode. Yes, be firm, steady, care for people, blah 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 blah. Then I realized that, okay, now I'm getting it, or like it's like starting all over again. But that's the beauty. So to me now, if you don't leverage on, I mean, talent is one thing, but using technology as the enabler, right? You imagine now, whatever that you are doing, the person from Nigeria can be actually reaching out to you, the
Yes.
person from Morocco and all that. So very much, I think I have written about 103 ebooks, some of them co-written. So
Wow.
to me now, if I have physical books, I am limiting myself whatsoever. But with the digital ebooks and all these ebooks, I convert it to become my modules. So most of
Mm.
my modules is always 8, 8, 8, 8, right? So that's where I realized that in Islam, me being a Muslim, I mean, we are not perfect people, right? So we are sinful and all that. So maybe there is something that I can prepare when I close my eyes. And I cannot, and it's going to be a waste if my wealth of experience, my wealth of talent, and all that will just follow me to my graveyard. So I find the ebooks. That's why I keep on telling my children that whatever that I leave behind, please share with others, because it actually made touch. Because we were born from humble family, right? We were not born with silver or golden spoon. We were born with we sleep like the sardine fish and all that in a small house, blah blah. So I realized that actually we can touch a lot of people, and how my seniors and my mentors have touched my life and actually have made me who I am. I feel that this should be paid forward to the young people who actually have have the appetite, or is hungry to become an entrepreneur or to become a consultant. Because to me, the consultant journey, okay, let me just share with you one thing that give a turning point in my life. I was in Bangkok with my mentor, right? So I told him that, hey, Peter, can you answer me from your heart, right? From your heart and honestly, why you choose consulting as a career, as a business? I just want to hear from you. So, and that was 2014, yeah, 11 years ago.
11.
So he said, oh, that's easy, Imran. I just want to work for 2, 3 days a week. So jackpot. We being engineers, being technology enthusiasts, we like toys, we like to meddle with stuff and all that. Sometimes we forget about time.
Um,
We just want to dive, deep dive into a lot of things, and we got carried away to a point where we forget our family, we forget the work-life balance, we forget a lot of things, and sometimes we forget on the spiritual things and all that. So,
yeah.
so that day onwards, I promised myself, I took another oath just between me and myself. I said that, look, I'm going to stick to consulting. I'm going to stick to consulting entrepreneurship, right? Until I close my eyes. And I want to teach these things. So anybody who wants to work 2, 3 days a week, they should actually have coffee with me rather than they go back to their rat race or 9 to 5, and have that boring life whatsoever. But again, everyone have their own thinking and all that. I've been enjoying myself.
Yeah.
The 7 years. The 7 years, I worked very hard, but at the same time also, you can imagine, people were amazed. I brought my daughter to Barcelona for the trade show. I brought her to the MOU signing and all that. In fact, my last meeting as well, I brought her because that's the beauty of entrepreneurship, right? Yeah, normally we leave our family behind and all that, but now I find that now I'm just guiding people not about making money, but it's really about fulfilling what you want to do with your life, and most importantly, it's about being happy. That's why for to the young people that approach me and all that, I say, why keep me going? How come I don't look tired? How come I don't look 53? I still look like a young guy running here and there. I say that simple. When you are happy, right, you can even carry the pine tree. But when you are
Yes.
not happy, the piece of paper is heavy. So me getting that mindset of, remember that do not put your emotions for somebody else to control. Just put everything under your control. It's just between you and the man above. Then I think it's going to be easy. And do not try to impress your enemy. A lot of people do business. They try to buy BMW, try to buy Mercedes. They try to look rich. That's not the whole idea. I mean, to me, it's actually live within your means. I don't mind taking the public transport. I don't mind actually, buy a second-hand car and pay it full. Buy a cheap house and pay it full. The idea is actually to be able to hold my wife's hand and walking along the beach without loans, without
Yeah.
the commitments and all that. So that's why I said very fortunate. My mentors and all this, they are rich people, but they have full of financial wisdom. They tell
Yes.
me, don't spend future money, manage, live within your means, right? Keep helping the poor people and all that. So I find that these values are so important for you to become a successful entrepreneur and successful consultant. That's why I'm very fortunate to have.
These are some of the stories. Even, there are a lot of similarities that I see across people's journeys, right? Speaking to them, talking to them, seeing them grow into careers. Most of the entrepreneurs that I've seen, they didn't have overnight thought that they immediately started with. They have been building up to it, saying, hey, I'm good at this, I'll go start this one, let me see what happens. And number one motivation that I've seen these entrepreneurs predominantly do is, hey, I want to execute this idea in my way. I don't want to, even though they know this is the right way, sometimes when you are employed, you get shunned off saying, hey, this is not good for business, right? So, and yeah, so these things I've seen many people stepped away from, including me, from the past company that I was working in. They had their own way of doing things. I had, you know, my way of doing things. The things don't align sometimes, even though you want to do the right thing, but it doesn't. And I totally agree when you say about, winning over customers, just they try to impress them. That is something, it doesn't work or work sometimes, but what I've seen work for winning over customers is show them the value, what you can deliver, right? If they understand and see the value that you can deliver, they will definitely respect you and give you those projects, right? And that is something that I've seen worked over and over again. But as you said, buying BMWs, going for flashy parties, encouraging customers to be there. That is another side of the industry that I've also seen when I was working 9 to 5. But there is other side where customer says, hey, this is great. This saves me time. This saves me money. This gives me better life quality, right? So they would buy it happily. And that is what I think you are also referring when you say, you just stick to solving customer problem, you'll automatically grow and you will have that mental peace of, hey, I did good. When I go to bed, I can sleep. So that's what I see in many places that I can resonate to.
Correct.
Yeah, I'm lost for words in terms of your experience and the breadth of details that you have. But continuing with our flow, right? So you worked across smart cities, artificial intelligence, audiovisual system, digital transformation. If personally you want to describe what do you do today as a builder or an advisor or an ecosystem architect, which one would you choose?
Okay, basically we are 100% independent consultant. So we focus on design. We
Design.
focus on the project management office. Right? So what we do in a nutshell, right? I just completed one very big insurance company, a multinational insurance company, 4 stories, in Labrador Tower. They give us the first. They actually took the whole from level 4 all the way to level 12. But level 4 and to level 8, they are the agency floors. I mean, they don't want to spend their money, but the premium floors, they want to do smart office. So In short, you give me your office, Arun, I make it smart. That is our low hanging fruits.
Nice.
So in the mid range, you give us a building, you give us the whole building, you give us the whole museum, you give us the whole hospital or the very much the campus. We make it smart. That is actually the the medium range project. So now what we are with the money that we are bringing in and all that, we focus on making your city smart. So
Nice.
but how we are approaching it now is very much is we advise you to start a museum to tell the whole history about your city.
Mm.
So very much we make the politician, we make the mayor, we make the governor look good because they bring back the memories of all the journey of the kingdom of the sultanate, or especially in Asia, right? We are so rich of history. So otherwise people see Singapore just about Sir Stamford Raffles, right? About it's just about the British, but all the real history where the Hindus came, where the Chinese people came, where the Arabs people came, that actually brought in lots of culture, everything will be eroded. So what we are doing like now in Singapore, we're going to launch the first Meta Museum that actually talk about the five kings of Singapore, right? So
Nice.
and this thing is actually what we are bringing to Jambi, to Aceh, to Cameron Highlands, all around the region to talk about the history of their place.
Wow.
But the beauty is we are revenue centric. Most of the museums you can't even change the bulb because it's not sustainable. So we introduce the circular economy, we introduce multiple revenue streams and all that. That's why I think we leverage on the technology, we leverage on the AI. So now it's no longer like, Arun, welcome to my museum. No, hey, basically much, hi Arun, nice to see you. We have a conversational thing with the DeepSeek, with the ChatGPT, with the AI stuff. So now your hologram, your human noise and all that in the museum are very much you can get engaged with. So it's totally a different ball game that we are changing now, and that's the direction we go in. So in other words, you talk about smart city, the government will start scratching their head. What, 200 300 million dollars of projects? So what we tell them, no, why not actually we bring in a small amount of money, right, as a pilot, as a proof of concept, as something to talk about your city, to actually stimulate your ecotourism,
Hmm.
right? Yeah, so we put a digital overlay across your city. So they like the idea. So
Yeah.
of course, when they heard the word meta and all that, they were afraid that we're gonna bring them into the crypto world. So we erase that from day one. We tell them no. What we do is actually we can even do the Web 2 base. You don't have to go into the Web 3, don't have to go into the blockchain, don't have to go into the crypto. But what we are doing, we don't bring people to your city. We bring the city to the world. That is
Nice.
actually the whole thing, that and on top of it, you can have the whole city be in your community and they are on board, and that's why the people is actually part of your system and your platform. So there's a lot of subscription and a lot of onboarding actually there involved. So the governor is happy because he don't have to scratch money to keep on begging from the federal side to bring in the money and all that. So this is actually what we are doing for the government for the B2G, and of course now like the one in Singapore is B2B, is very much at the company level. So and that's why the B2C now are our army, our arms and legs that we are certifying and all that, so that can be on board. So that's basically what we're doing, Arun.
Yeah, definitely. I think in 2021, there was a lot of experiments around metaverse, being your city on the world, buying lands in metaverse to build museums, build landscapes and other
Correct,
stuff, right?
correct.
And
But
that
the
is
problem,
something you guys are doing now with or without web.
no, well that's why now when people were doing that, it started as a hype. Then it actually eroded to become more scams.
Hmm.
And people got frightened. They buy the digital asset for half billion, then they can't even sell for 50 million. That kind of thing. So what we are doing now, we tell them no. What we want them, of course, if those people who really want to go into the sandbox and the meta world and all that, we encourage them. But what we are doing now, you see, proven smart cities are all on IoTs, not on blockchain, right? So what we tell them that, look, we start with Web 2, but we are Web 3 ready. Anytime you plug in your blockchain engine, we are up and running. So but the beauty now is focus on the revenue that you can bring in. So the payment gateway and all that, we have a mix of the conventional, because not every country is actually supporting crypto in a big way. So what we
Yeah.
do now is actually we start prudent, we start small. So we start at bite size. So that way the government, because most of the question is the same. Are you
Mhm.
introducing crypto to my community? No, I said no, we are not introducing. crypto. We are very much telling you that, look, instead of you keep on building cost centers, we are teaching you how to bring revenue centers, how to build revenue centers around your city. So that actually excites them. That the
Yeah.
circular economy concept actually think them, yeah, I got land, I got collateral, why not I spin it off and actually build something that will benefit the community. Like for
Yeah.
example, 52% of their demographics are youth. So
Mm.
when we bring in metaverse, when we bring in the gaming, we bring in the experiential retail, the e-commerce, the experiential e-commerce and all that, they get very excited, right? Because they are
Yeah.
familiar with Shopee, they are familiar with Grab, they are familiar with Uber, and all these things is actually can actually show them that, look, why not actually you keep whatever you are doing, but by being on board on our platform or joining our community, you are very much borderless and limitless now, right? In terms of revenue
Yeah.
and all that. So this is something that we are highlighting people that the whole things have changed. So if you want to have a unique lifestyle, you want to have a life. So basically, what happened to my life? I'm actually educating people not to copy because you will
Mm.
take the wrong route. You will just be career centric, money centric, and all that. So what we are doing is to have that very beautiful, livable city that actually appreciate our forefathers. See, my wife, my current wife and my previous wives are Malay, right? So my children are half Indian and Malay and all that, right? So, but when I go into Malaysia, they're like, look, I'm Indian, right? They say, no, 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 no. You know, you're gonna lose a lot of the Bumi Putra status, blah blah blah. I said, yeah, but I cannot forget my forefathers. In Singapore, we follow father. So in Malaysia, I want my children to follow father as well. So they are
Well,
Indian. So these are the things that I feel that everyone should be proud of their roots. It doesn't matter you come from Africa, you come from India, you come from China, you come from Singapore, that's not important, but you are proud of your forefathers because without them, there's no you. And so that's
yeah.
where I feel that if we can actually educate more people like that, start to think back about their heritage and convert their heritage into legacy for their grandchildren and all that, I think that would be beautiful.
Yeah. Uh, True, true. And what you mentioned about in terms of, education is the key for this. And looking at the developed economics like Germany and stuff, where they encourage these kind of online interactions about their cities where they willingly contribute. In Asia, probably there are still hurdles, but you bring up one very important point about B2G, the revenue centers, where the governments are striving to generate more revenue out of their cities. I think that is a initial, close your eyes and sell kind of a situation, right? You
Correct.
have a revenue center that you can go from the beginning, and it's not just your constituency or your city audience, but it's a
Correct.
global audience,
Exactly.
right? That is something revolutionary if this successfully takes off here, because there has always been that futuristic, right? You can just wear a VR or sit in your own comfort and visit Barcelona, London, or
Yes, yes.
Singapore, China, India, any place, because that's always been the futuristic. If you look at any sci-fi movies, like being hologram, robotics voice, and you sit in one place and you can visit multiple destination at once. Yeah,
Correct.
it's definitely futuristic. Yeah, I hope you guys grow a lot further and try to bring that future into reality.
Correct.
And continuing with our conversation, right? When you say these smart cities and the cost that it can have on the government and the revenue it generates from the global audiences based on subscription and everything, out of all this that we spoke about, what is that one most obsessed problem that you're looking to solve?
For us, as you know, what I noticed as we go around the region, right? I'm just talking around the region, is to get the buy-in, and very much because of values, right? Rather because of connection, just because of I mean, connections are important and all that. I totally understand that. Like how I was brought to Dubai, it was because I kicked out the US manufacturer because they were brought in by the local vendor, and the local vendor actually shoot up the budget sky high and all that. So me as an independent consultant, I have to come in and evaluate, right? So whether you imagine like a boardroom is the size of a building in terms of budget. So of course, as an independent consultant, I mean I understand people want to make money and all that, but I think it's ridiculous if because it's at the end of the day, it's the taxpayers' money, right? So for me, it's like, yes, we want to, everybody who, as a businessman, we want to make money, but we what we need to be very very sure right? Like for me, I'm very fortunate when I was doing the Central Bank of Malaysia. I was working directly with the assistant governor then, Dato Daud. He's the best client that I ever had because he really put his heart, his soul for the people. So because
Nice.
as you know, as you go into the government sector and all that, it's very sensitive because they got their own horses, blah blah blah, and all that. They got their own preferred vendors, partners, contractors, blah blah blah. So I'm so touched by this assistant governor. When he fly to New York, he will text me that, Amran, hey, my background keep changing and all that. I want this in our central bank. Then when he go to Japan, there was an automatic toilet and all that. He said, hey, Amran, I think we should actually explore these things, just to make our client, the people coming to our toilet in the central bank, feel very unique and special. So those are the things that I feel is not easy, because you see, we as consultant may have interest for the peace of mind for the client, right? But unfortunately, sometimes the client also already have their own agendas and all that. So this is the thing that we need to very much position correctly from day one. Just like just now, the insurance company, right? When I came in, because of the internal, they have a lot of departments and all that and divisions, right? So they were doing their own POCs, and they were doing POCs with even vendors, right? So when I came in as independent consultant, that's why I told them that, look, when you are about to call a tender, you're going to throw an RFP and all that. I think you should be working with manufacturers, consultants, and yourself, right? Because we're
Yeah.
going to call the tender. So I think this thing you need to manage carefully so that there's no conflict of interest. So these are the things that I think we need to be firm. And what I would love is actually, especially on the government side and all that, people need to be humble, because sometimes when they are exposed to ChatGPT, when they are exposed to Google search, they
Ah,
become overnight consultant, right?
yes.
And this is the challenge. And sometimes they turn nasty, and because sometimes our engineers cannot articulate well. I mean, their communication skills is not. They are very good technically, they are not salespeople, so they may not
Yeah.
be able to convey certain things correctly and all that. And these things actually offended the clients. And I saw some of the consultants being bullied on site and all that. So these are the things that I think everyone should respect. Any appointments, any roles when come to projects. I think that is very important. Come to
Yes.
a point where, when I was doing some of the project in the education sector, come to a point where I told my consultants, no, yes, the customer is king. The customer is always right. But if they disrespect us as consultant, you escalate to
Yeah.
me, I will pull out from the project. To me, none of my consultant, because we are teaching values. We are not teaching engineering or technologies alone. We are
Yeah.
teaching people entrepreneurship. So we are teaching communication skills. We are teaching a lot of how to respect people, how to respect client. But this thing can only happen if it goes both ways, right?
Both
So
ways.
the client is arrogant and all that. I said, come on, man, let's walk away, right? So these are the
Yeah.
things that I'm telling I said, because why? In the outside world, is already so stressed out. So why
Yes.
why SCAVAI need to be so stressful, right? What we want to do is actually to complete a project happily. The client is happy, they sleep at night, right? They have the peace of mind and all that. And at the same time, we keep on bringing the innovation. We bring in the creativity parts and all that. So everybody have the part. So that's why sometimes I have to, from day one, I just remind all my clients, when you engage a consultant, when you engage a contractor, please behave like a client.
Yes.
You already engage us and paying us for what we are expert for, right?
Yeah.
So please allow us to have that space to deliver, to give our best.
Yeah.
All you need to do is to review. Say, Amran, I don't like this. Can you do this? Then we
Feedback.
will do it. Correct. But if you start talking to my programmer, you start talking to the contractor, you start doing this, you mess up the whole project, because we as consultants, we need to make sure that we deliver the project on time and on budget. So we need
Yeah.
the cooperation from the client as well. So to me, that's why I would love to get Dato Daud as my client all the time. Right? So this
Yeah.
is something. So, but now, having said that, now we are creating our own projects. We got lesser of that problem. I even walk away from a $10 million project because I saw how the consultant was bullied, by the
Yeah.
education sector people and all that. And to me, I don't accept that. I can be very notorious because I'm an army officer, right? I
Yeah.
can be very nasty. I can be very vulgar. I'm good at that. But when we come in very respectful and all that, and especially my junior consultants, right? I'm very protective of them. So I told them that if anybody bully you and all that on site, just escalate to me. Not that we are trying to show our arrogance or whatsoever, but what we want to tell people that, look, yes, project is always having problems, but we
Yeah.
shouldn't be the problem. We should be the problem solver, right? So everybody play their parts, and I think we will deliver the project on time, on budget.
Yeah. So again, my respect to you keeps growing and growing because this is something that I relate to my personal experiences too. Because in most of the projects, companies are reluctant to say no to the customer. They don't say no because whatever the reasons are, whatever the implications are, even if customer is being unreasonable, the same thing happened to me in my past company where customer is asking, unreasonable things in an unreasonable timeline with, quick chat GPT trying to meddle with, well structured, thought out plan considering all the variables within the project. But the current company doesn't support ease consultants. You see, it sides on the customer side always because why? Customer pays us money, is giving us
Yeah.
revenue. But that
Yes,
doesn't mean the customer is always right.
exactly.
You have to educate customers. Hey, you have a good point, but that might not be suitable for this scenario. We should be able to convince from our experience, from your present situation, this is the right approach. If you don't agree, then we can't deliver a zero value work or a negative value work to the customer and get money for
Exactly.
it, right? That
Correct.
doesn't, especially for me also, it doesn't sit well. I know they're making a mistake. I can't just sit quiet and say, "Hey, that is wrong." Right? I should be able to say that is wrong. If you do that, probably you lose time, you lose money, or you lose revenue. But if you just hide it from customer, you're not doing good job for them or yourself. You have to be open and say, hey, this is not how it works. If you need somebody to do what you say, go get somebody else, because we bring in our expertise. When we do what we do, we are doing what is best for the business, right? And
Correct.
if you have your own experience, own thought process, you need not us, but somebody else who can execute your actions. Something that I see happen over and over again in the industry. They never say no to the customer, or they never say, customer, you're wrong.
Yeah. Correct. 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 Understanding how you can use this technology and benefit you and become the billionaire. Technology is crazy, AI is crazy. Yes, they are good ambassadors, but not necessarily they are good entrepreneurs.
What do you think, the board should ask, but often they don't ask?
Yeah.